All right, I think we're good to go. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is Elbows Out Racing broadcasting for you tonight. So, we bring you here Midwest F1 League, um, Division 3, Round 3, here at Monza, the Temple of Speed, one of the and classic circuits in the whole F1 calendar. Grand Prix that has been continuously running in the F1 calendar, so quite a lot of history here. We're back here at Division 3 after last week's race at Suzuka, Japan. As if let's go through real quick of last week's results. Let's take a look at how the at last week's results. Let me just see if I can load that up. Here we go. As if we recall, last week Shirley the Turtle got the win in Japan. Static Hazard got P2 and Ray in the Alpine P3. Now Ray is not going to be racing tonight, and substituting him for tonight will be Rompenola. We also have a substitution in Alfa Romeo. Let me go through it just real quick. There's very kindly Monkey provided me with the details. In Alfa Romeo, we have Hewlett substituting Unholy Red Eye, who will be it's unavailable for tonight's session. Other than that, I think we have a full grid. I see everyone on. Yeah, we're pretty much good to go. I think we think we're missing just one driver, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually the Ferrari. Yeah, it's the Ferrari of Shelly the Turtle, the winner of last week race. Giving a quick shout out to Rimp Race Energy, which is a Midwest League sponsor. Thank you very much for that. I think it's using the code Midwest, you get a discount on their website. Thank you, Pimp Race Energy, for sponsoring the race, the league rather. Also, don't forget that we have Midwest League itself YouTube channel at Midwest F1 League, and of course the Midwest website, www.midwestf1.com. So make sure to check those out as we wait for the final driver to join, and we get started this round 3. Let me see how many rounds in total we'll have. As we'll have in this season, I think it's 12, but let me make sure. No, it's not 12. It's quite a bit more. Let's see. It's 16. One of the tracks I really enjoy. I really like most tracks. There are only a few tracks that I say I'm sure most of the people have. One of them being, for example, um, Netherlands. I think that's a very difficult track. I really struggle in that a lot, as well as, of course, Monaco, as most people. Um, Australia. Australia, I find that a circuit very difficult, and it's actually Sandford and Australia are uh, one of the uh, one of the last rounds of the season. So that's gonna be very interesting as we get started. Um, as we're good to go now. So again, thank you everyone for joining. This is either if you're watching this live or if you're a steward or a driver checking this footage um, once everything happened. Of course, thank you either way for tuning in. This is Elbows Out Racing in Twitch, and of course, you're watching this through the Midwest F1 um, YouTube channel. So thank you very much for tuning in either way. So again, we're here at Division 3, Round 3 at Monza here. So we will have, as always, a short quali of 18 minutes for the drivers to put their best laps. And we'll have also a 50% race. I think this 27 laps around Monza, Italy. So yeah, very excited. And I'm sure these drivers will be delivering quite an exciting race for all of us. As we wait for the first driver to get out of the pit lane, as of course the drivers, I'm sure they're setting up their setups and stuff, so they can be as quick as they possibly can and as comfortable with the car as they possibly can too. It looks like it's a McLaren, if I'm not mistaken. Let's pull up the track map. It is a McLaren. It is the McLaren of, let me take a look. It is Snooker. Who, let me see, I think it's substituting someone there. I'm not entirely sure. Let me just check back and confirm. Yes, it is substituting Born Shed. So currently Snooker is substituting the McLaren driver as he gets out of the pit lane first. We're right on board. We have the panoramic camera on him right now as he goes through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. DRS wide open. It looks like he decided to keep it shut, as of course this is a the out lap for him as he goes into Ascari. I really like this track. This track is and very exciting for racing, especially. I think there are some tracks that are pretty nice for qualifying, some tracks that are great for racing. I think this is one of them, guys. I think this is a great track for racing. It might not be as Snooker goes through Parabolica and starts his hot lap, and I think that Monza is especially good for racing. We see a lot of overtakes, a lot of dive bumps, perhaps more than we should, but hopefully I'm sure these drivers will keep it as clean as they can as the McLaren goes into Curva Grande now. Is right on board as he approaches the De La Roja chicane. I really like that. This Monza is so historic, has so much history behind it, and of course each corner has seen quite a bit of history by themselves along the years, not only in F1 but in other motorsport disciplines that race here too, as we see the McLaren of Snooker finishing up his lap through Ascari with a little bit of a spin there. Very difficult to get the line right there. We have a couple of retirements. We have Vitek in the Red Bull and his teammate Yasti. Wonder what happened there, but they will be probably starting from the back then. as the McLaren goes through the line with a 1:23.5. Let's see who beats that time, if anyone, as we go through. I think Silent Banshee is going to be the first. No, I think it's going to be. I'm not entirely sure who's. That text message, yeah. So he's the second man in putting a hot lap. Is going to be a 1:21.89. That puts him in provisionally P1, and immediately Guitarman Can puts a fast lap of a 1:21.1, almost 2. So 7/10 clear. As immediately we see Canacles in the Aston Martin putting a time of a 1:22.1. So that puts him in P3. So let's take a look at the tire selection. Looks like almost nobody's going for medium compound tires. So we will see very similar strategies. It's common that we see safety cars in Monza, so probably the safety cars will disrupt some of the strategies. We will see what happens, but looks like everyone or most of the drivers are going for soft compound tires. Subtle in the Haas puts a time of 1:21.8. As very gracefully Pork Chop gives the space to the Haas driver to complete his outlap. Again, thank you everyone for joining. This is Albosat Racing bringing for you tonight Midwest F1 League Division 3, round 3 here at the Classic Monza. Let's take a look at let's see who else. We have a couple of one more retirement. Almeida in the McLaren unfortunately retires, as we see him right at the exit of Scari. So unfortunate for him, he's going to be starting at the back as well. Alright, let's see who else is on a hot lap. Hewlett in the Alfa Romeo completes a hot lap, but immediately we see Edwin in the Mercedes completing a hot lap of a 1:20.5. That's 6/10 quicker than Guitarman Can's time, so I'm sure that the Mercedes driver will be happy. And with 12 minutes to go here, that looks like it's quite a strong time. Of course, the drivers will definitely have one or two more shots to place a time, but yeah, that's a pretty solid start for the Mercedes driver. Right, let's see who else is on a hot lap. I think the Gary's back. No, he's not. Workshop is not either. I think the Haas of the section just put a time of 1:22.4, and as he spins right at turn 2, of course he waits for the next driver, which I think it's Canacles, to move ahead. Or even it was Guitarman Can and Canacles was just behind. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. As the section manages to get back on track there into Curva Grande. So let's take a look. We have Silent Banshee just starting a hot lap, so that's quite a good timing. So let's ride on board Silent Banshee here on his hot lap on the AlphaTauri as he goes through Curva Grande. So it's very important, I'm sure these guys use custom setups, very important to have the highest on throttle differential that you possibly can. Most people use 100%. I think if you drive without traction control, at least for me personally, that's very difficult, as we see the AlphaTauri going through Lasmus 1 and 2. So yeah, the highest differential you have in this track especially, the better acceleration and outright traction you will get. It will be easier to lose the car when you don't have the traction right right at the exit of a hairpin, for example, but you will get the best acceleration possible. So, and this track is all about exits and acceleration. So of course that's where you need to point at. Let's see what time is going to be for the AlphaTauri. It's going to be a 1:21.3. That's a decent time, definitely. He's going to put him on P4. So the Mercedes of GR Edwin completely is like 5/10 clear of second place. So that's quite a comfortable gap for the Mercedes driver. And below Edwin, we have a couple or maybe 5/10 between P2 and P5, between Rompenola in the Alpine, and Subtle in P5, which immediately we see that text message putting a time of let's say 1:21.3. That's going to be 8/10 behind his teammate in pole position, but still, I'm sure it's quite a decent time that he will be somewhat satisfied with. Of course, I'm sure no driver is satisfied with their time, but I'm sure that's going to put him in a comfortable position for the remainder of the session. Let's see how much time we got left. I'm not entirely sure as we wait for the sector 3 yellow flag to disappear there on your top left corner of the screen. Let's see who else is in a hot lap, as we see Simon Vinci at the exit. That's not the safest place to park, at the exit of Ascari, but it'll work, I guess. As we see Shelly the Turtle, who's finally joined the server, the previous race winner. Let's see how well he does here at Monza. His scoring time is at 1:21.6. That's going to put him in P8. I'm sure he'll want to do a lot better, but he's got time. We have 7 minutes and 10 seconds left in this session. We only have 2 drivers pending to put a time. We have the various back in the Williams, who's actually currently on a hot lap, and we have the Alpine of Green Reefer, who's actually going through Parabolica right now, about to start his hot lap. But let's go on board the Garry's back in the Williams as he goes through Lesmo 2. So critical here at Monza to have a good exit, especially out of Lesmos 2. That's, I think, the second or third greatest acceleration zones. Monza is basically 4 straights separated by chicanes. That's pretty much what it is. And of course the mythical Parabolica turn, which is really, really fun to drive at. We have a new time, a new purple time is GSR Edwin again, improving his time. It's not going to be a 1:25 as he's not able to do the chicane properly, so of course he gets an invalidated lap, but the valid lap was already set. As of course we have Keaton Peter in the AlphaTauri putting a very decent time as well of a 1:27, so he's a couple of tenths behind the Mercedes. And also Rompenola, the Alpine driver, is 3 tenths behind Keaton Peter. So they're getting close to Mercedes driver, to Edwin, so he might not be safe after all. Let's see what happens. But as we see Rompenola invalidating his lap at Ascari, but he will definitely have even, I think, a couple of more shots there. We have a momentarily yellow flag at the back straight. I think it's Edwin, yeah, but all good. I think he was just saving a bit of battery there. He's probably going to go into the pit lane for a final attempt to improve his time, even if he's currently at P1 already. As we are 12. No, wait, that's. Yeah. Wait. I'm having a bit of a math breakdown here. As we are 14 minutes in this session, there we go. Let's go quickly through the current order. So we have GSR Edwin on the Mercedes with a 120.5, very decent time for him. Then we have Kid and Peter also in the pit lane with a couple of tenths behind him. So that's pretty close gap. Let's see if the AlphaTauri manages to chip away those couple of tenths. Then we have the Alpine of Rompinola in P3, 1/10 behind the AlphaTauri, so again pretty close stuff. Guitarman can 3/10 behind the Alpine. Subtle is a couple of tenths behind the Aston Martin of Guitarman can. Behind the Haas we have that text message, the pole sitter teammate, which is 8/10 behind. Let's see, as Subtle is currently on a hot lap, I think, as he goes a little wide after Lesmo 1, going into Lesmo 2, onto the final DRS zone of the circuit. We have a couple of DRS zones, but still, as Suzuka last week, where the battery management was completely key, as Suzuka has only one DRS zone, right, at the main straight. Here at Monza we have a couple. So we have at the main straight, of course, as most circuits, not all though, but at most circuits it has a DRS zone in the main straight, but also has, even having a second one after Lesmo 2, it has a couple of more overtaking opportunities without a DRS zone. Like for example in De La Roggia, right after Curva Grande, that does not have an ERS. We have an incident there. It's, I think, the Aston Martin of Canicles, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's correct. I'm not entirely sure what happened. Probably a spin there into turn 1. I think it's all good. Let's go back to Subtle. And yeah, so we see Porkchop also moving away for Subtle to go through. And after Ascari, which is very important to get a good exit out of, you do have quite a big straight. This exact straight that the Haas is going through, as he actually runs out of battery there, as you see his red light flashing. But yeah, so even in more circuits that have plenty of DRS zones, like for example Jeddah, or let me think another one. I think Jeddah is the main example that I can think of, that yeah, the battery is important, but if you manage to stick behind someone and get their DRS zone, you'll probably be good. Here at Monza, then, you have a couple of straights that, yeah, you do have DRS, but there are a couple more that you don't, so definitely how you manage your battery is going to be key this 50% race, as I think the Haas of Subtle is trying to leave the space for, I think it was GSR to go through. So let's go back into the pole position sitter as he goes into Lesmo 1. Very nice line there. Lesmo 2. Very nice line there too. Being very conservative on the gear changes, not even moving down from 6th there at Lesmo 2, as he goes into Ascari, and he puts a purple sector 2. So very interesting to see what time is going to do. Beautiful exit out of Ascari, very good there, as he as the session is actually finishing up right now, right this second. So this session is over, so this will be the final attempt for the Mercedes driver. Let's see whether he manages to improve his time. He will. Yes, he will. 1.5 tenths quicker, so it's going to be a final time of 1:23.7. 1:20.3. That's a very quick time. I'm sure he'll be very happy, and I see no indication that he will not be the pole sitter. I don't see anyone lapping as quick as he is right now, as we see Hewlett in the Alfa Romeo um, going through Ascari, as the Alfa Romeo is substituting unholy Red Eye, who will not be able to join us tonight, but of course Hewlett very kindly offered to substitute him for tonight. As he goes through the line, he decides to go to the pit lane, so no hot lap there. Shift brakes, no hot lap either. I think we're set. I think that's the session, so let's quickly go through the grid order so far. So we have GSR Edwin, who clinched the pole position. Then we have Hidden Peter in P2. Oh, I think Hidden Peter, is he on a hot lap? He is not. Okay, so that's going to be the session, yeah. We have P3 Rumpinola in the Alpine. We have Guitarman Can in the Aston Martin P4, who had an unfortunate retirement early on last race. So I'm sure he'll be looking to get a better result tonight. Started from P4, pretty strong start. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. As we're done, as Kid Beer says, the AI is burning the tires. So yeah, that's the session. As we see, Edwin P1, Kid Beer P2, Rompinola P3, Guitarman Can P4, this section in the Haas P5, Sherry Coleslow in the Williams P6, Hewlett P7, Sottle in the Haas P8, Dead Text Message P9, Silent Banshee in the AlphaTauri P10, Grim Reaper P11 in the Alpine. Following him, we have De Garis back in P12, Shelly the Turtle, and Chief Rates, a couple of Ferraris P13 and 14 respectively, Canicles P15, Snooker P16, Porkchop 17, VTech 18, A Wild Nada 19, and JST in P20. As the race is upon us, fellas, it's going to be 27 laps around this mythical circuit of Monza, and look at that. I was not aware it's going to be a wet race. Quite a turn of events here. I did not expect this. Race. Italy in the Temple of Speed. So I'm not sure if the drivers, hopefully the drivers adapted or anticipated this rain for their setup selection, because even though we're at Monza and the differential should be 100% or as close as 100% as you possibly can on the dry, on the wets, it definitely should not. Considering that we're at Monza, I would have my on-throttle differential at maximum 70, maybe 75, but nothing past that, because of what we talked about earlier, right? That the on-throttle differential, what does is that locks or makes the rear tires go at the same speed. The differential will only affect the rear tires, and the on-throttle differential affects or kicks in when you press the throttle. And if it's as close as 100% as possible, what's going to do is that as the two tires spin at the same rate, they will impulse or move the car forward more effectively, but at the risk of spinning, of course, at the exit. It's going to be a little trickier to handle the car, but you will have better acceleration. And the opposite effect will have if you have a low on-throttle differential. So the having an on-throttle, an unlocked on-throttle differential means that the two tires can speed a bit more independently and will be easier to accelerate on, even though, of course, at the expense of having less acceleration potential, you will have more control at the exit. And of course that's what you need on a wet surface, so that's why definitely you do not like it, or you do not want a high on throttle differential when it's raining. Also, the brake pressures, definitely I like to have my brake pressures at least 10% lower than in the dries. That might be a little bit too much for some people, but it's so much easier to lock up in wet conditions. So definitely the brake pressure would need to be adjusted. Of course, the wings too. A lot of things to think about when racing in the wets. As the drivers start their formation lap here at Monza, at wet Monza. So let's see, everyone, of course, is going to be on intermediate tires. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see if I can see here the I do think I have the weather report, and looks like rain is not going anywhere. 90% humidity or possibility of rain within the first 10 minutes of session. After 15 minutes we have 91%. It's just going up. So yeah, the rain is not going anywhere. So definitely we have a 27 laps of full rain probably. So interesting to see how the drivers adjust here. Let me pull up the telemetry here as we're on board GSR Edwin in the Mercedes. That's of course so important to have the tires warmed up here at Monza in the formation lap. Well, in every Grand Prix really. But yeah, I will have a table here in my cell phone with the telemetry of the race, so maybe we can take a look at sector times and who's being quicker where, and a little bit more in-depth info for all of you guys to enjoy here as we watch the race. So thank you for joining me, and I'm sure we will have quite a nice time as the drivers go through Parabolica. And well, very early on, the Mercedes, the top three drivers finishing on the formation lap. A few hundred meters behind, we have the the Aston Martin of Guitarmenken and the rest of the grid as they start to form for this 25 laps around Monza, this 50% race. This is season 3 of Division 3 as well in this Division 3 here, as Pork Shops very kindly sharing the weather report, and indeed it's rain all the way throughout. So very interesting. Thank you, Pork Shops, for that. As the drivers get ready, let's ride on board. We have 5 lights out, and the race is underway. As we have a little incident there with the Haas, I think it's the section there. As we go side by side, let's ride on board. A little bit of the nose there of Rompanola as someone goes through there into, I think it's a VTEC there in the Hewlett, sorry, in the Alfa Romeo. Let's take a look. As the top 5 drivers, no major issues there. We see a little bit of fighting here in Culpa Grande between quite a bit of drivers, but it's the Green Reaper, Silent Banshee, Pork Chops, and the Garius back there. As the Garius back manages to somewhat put his nose ahead, but not gonna be enough. We have quite a bit of a train there. Let's take a look who manages to come out on top. I'm having a glance also at the top 3, top 5. I don't see changes there. Oh, we do have some of an incident there. That text message, I think he's spun or something. He slowed down quite a bit. He lost a few positions. Let's take a look at the position changes for us to have an idea of who's progressing and who's been moved down the order. As we see Pork Chops moving around the outside of of the Mercedes driver. He manages to pull up the move. A little bit of a slowdown there from Pork Chops. I'm not entirely sure what happened, as we see 3 abreast momentarily, but the Williams goes right past them. The Gary is back in the Williams, but the Mercedes does a comeback, and inevitably, yeah, so look at that, mayhem into Parabolica. That's definitely going to be a safety car, and I'm sure the stewards will be taking a look at that. I think I had a pretty nice visual of what happened there, so hopefully that's gonna make the stewards' lives a bit easier, but of course they will have to make the call what happens there. Of course, there's a full-on safety car. Let's go through the grid order. So far, we have Rompenola in P1, Peter P3, the AlphaTauri, Shuttle in the Haas P4, Guitarman Ken in the Aston Martin is going to be P5. Then we have Hewlett P6. Then we have Sharia Coleslaw in P7 in the Williams. Behind him we have Green Whipper in the Alpine P8. Okay, now we have the Gary back in the Williams in P9. Behind him we have Pork Chops in the Alfa Romeo in P10, and that rounds up the top 10. Now we have JC in the Red Bull, P11. Behind him, the couple of Ferraris, Shelly the Turtle and Chief Brakes, quite close to each other, but no one else. They're quite apart from the rest of the drivers, either behind or ahead. Behind him, very far behind, but behind him, have that text message in the Mercedes P14. Then the section, he has unfortunately moved down at 10 total grid places. That's quite a bit of an unfortunate situation, but he's currently in P15. Then we have VTEC P16, Mechanicals P17, Silent Banshee, who also started the race pretty well, but moved down the order all the way to P18. I'm missing the word for progress, the opposite of progress, but he moved down 8 places down the order. And then we have A Wild Nada. That's somewhat of a bug. I'm not sure what happened, but he got disqualified immediately as we went on board him. So, well, of course, now look at that. So both McLaren drivers are going to be out. So we will not have any more McLaren drivers tonight, unfortunately. We have a total of 18 drivers so far. As the safety car queue starts to form, let's take a look at the tires. Did anyone pit? Let's take a look. Looks like no one pitted, but the top or the bottom 6 or the bottom 5 drivers really. So we see that text message in P14. Anyone below P14 has pitted for fresh intermediate tires. It's just a couple laps that you save, but those 2 couple of laps could make the difference. I'm not entirely sure if these intermediate tires can go the distance, all the 27 laps. Perhaps they can. We will see, I guess, but I'm not entirely sure, as we see the rain continue pounding this beautiful Monza circuit, as the grid continues to queue behind the safety car. I think looking at our bottom 5 drivers, probably the Mercedes of that text message will be able to catch up, as well as Dissection, and if they hurry up, perhaps VTEC and Mechanicals can catch up. Silent Banshee, I think he's too far behind. He might be able to do the ultimate push and be able to catch him, but he definitely needs to hurry up, because I'm pretty positive. I might be wrong, but I think it's very unlikely that the safety car does not come in this lap. So he's probably so Silent Banshee has half a lap of safety car queue to catch up as he spins a bit, and he loses a front wing. Of course, he knew he had to push, so well, those errors kind of happen. I think he will be able to get into the pit lane and not being lapped, because once that happens, you know that the race is going very downhill from there. But I think he will be able to get ahead of the safety car for him not to be lapped by practically everyone. Let's have a look. So he decided to DNF. Okay, so he didn't see any value of continuing there, so well, unfortunate for Silent Banshee, as he had a decent result last session in Suzuka, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check back real quick to see how he did last session. Let's see real quick as the drivers. So we do not have a safety car coming in. We have a little spin there from VTech. He was almost about to catch up to the queue. He will anyway. I thought the safety car was coming in this lap, so they have plenty of time. He can even pit and catch them, no problem. That's what he's going to do, indeed. So yeah, he decides to pit. A little glitch there. I don't know what happened. VTech decide to retire. So again, unfortunate for him. The Red Bull of JST. So his teammate retiring. I'm sure that's not going to be ideal for them, but let's see if JST can pick himself up and even get to the points, as well as the other 5 drivers ahead of him that are outside the point area. But let's see what happens as we go back. Let's check back to our top of the order. So of course they're still behind the safety car, and I'm really doubting that the safety car is going to stay out. And indeed, we confirmed that the safety car is coming in this lap, so we will have green lights in moments here, as the drivers will start lap 6 of 27. Let me check back. The last results in Suzuka to see. I just wanted to check how Silent Banshee did. Let's see, because if I recall correctly, yeah, it was a decent result for him. It was P14. This time he he unfortunately did not complete the race, but I'm sure he'll pick himself up on for next race. So as we have green lights now, this is lap 6 of 27. Let's take a look at turn 1, the chaotic turn 1, to see if we see any incidents. Looks like everything's doing good. A little bit of a contact, I think, between Chili the Turtle and Pork Chops, but a little bit of an incident there. We see the Ferrari spinning of a Chief Race. A little bit of chaos there into turn 1. No surprise, turn 1 is usually the source of chaos there, but I think Chief Race will be able to pick himself up and rejoin. Not with a lot of disadvantage, but I'm sure he will be looking to recover as much ground as he possibly can. As the drivers, as we see Shelly Turtle, the previous race winner, going through Lesma 2. Lesmos, I'm not sure, I think it's Lesma 2, yeah, not sure. As we see a DNF, that text message in the Mercedes decided, unfortunately, DNF. I'm not entirely sure what happened, whether there was any contact or a spin or something like that. And again, we have immediately another safety car. Well, let's queue up again, I guess. Not a very fluid race, with quite a bit of incidents. Naturally, Monza, even on dry, we see some degree of incidents already, and if you add on top of that rain, is the recipe for safety cars. Really, but let's see whether we can have a few laps of racing speed after this safety car, hopefully, as the drivers queue up into turn 1, but yeah, this is gonna be ideal for the piters, currently chief rates and mechanical, so they will be able to pit, they will be able to fix their damage there, and very likely catch up back to the queue, so they will be able to fight for position again instead of being like 20-30 seconds behind. So this is lap 7 of 27 here at Monza, 21 laps and a fraction remaining. The safety car is going through Ascari right now into the straight. So we currently have 5 DNFs. We have that text message in the Mercedes. I'm sorry, the teammate of the driver we're on board right now, GSR Edwin. We have BTEC in the Red Bull, whose teammate JST is sitting in P13 currently. We have Silent Banshee in P18, DNFing as well. Unfortunately, we have his teammate Kevin Peter sitting in P3. And a couple of McLarens. We have Snooker and A Wild Maida in P19 and 20 respectively. Unfortunately, they DNF'd, or A Wild Maida was disqualified. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if that was a glitch, but he was standing there at De La Roggia. I'm not sure what happened. So I think if the drivers catch up quick enough, I think they should be able to catch the queue. The one that's the furthest back is Chief Red, so let's go right on board him to see whether he's able to catch up. I see no damage in his car, so he managed to pit. He actually has fresh softs there, fresh intermediates, sorry, we're not in the right condition. But yeah. I'm not entirely sure if the safety car is coming in this lap. Let's see. We should get the notice by this point, by Ascari, somewhat around this moment. I think the safety car is staying out one more lap, so we will have the green lights until lap 10. So we will have to go one more lap, cruising around behind the safety car. But hopefully the race resumes after this next lap. Look at that take. Right, there we go. That's what I wanted to show. Yeah. As we see the drivers going through the main straight here at Monza. The oldest Grand Prix in the whole calendar of F1, so very historic circuit here. As we are on board the Edwin in Mercedes, and of course the rest of the drivers form behind him into Curva Grande. As we're on board Hewlett in the Alfa Romeo here. I really like to see the telemetry either way, because we can pick up on a lot of details on how the drivers handle their cars, how they approach braking zones, how much battery they have. That's critical. So yeah, telemetry. I think it's very cool that they added it in this broadcast menu and stuff. They can do a lot of better and cooler stuff for broadcast to be a lot more controlled. So I would like to switch between different camera angles, not just like TV pod like this one, and simply a random broadcast that the game decides to put either a zoomed out like this camera or another type of onboard camera. I just don't control it, unfortunately. I just can't switch between broadcast and TV pod, but we do what we work with what Codemasters give us, but I think they can definitely do a better job. I think the safety car is coming in this lap, so we're getting ready to race back again. So let's have a look. Yes, we do have green lights as Edwin is going a lot quicker than the Alpine. They're going side by side. The Mercedes will definitely going to be ahead before the braking zone. So the Mercedes takes the position there into P1. Let's keep track of what happens there at turn 1. Do we see any incidents? I don't think so. Everyone going in safely there around turn 1 and 2, as Edwin and the rest of the drivers go through De La Roggia, the second chicane here at Monza. Let's take a look. Do we see any interesting fights? We do, I think, somewhat. We see pork chops in the Alfa Romeo, chasing Canicles in the Aston Martin. Let's have a look right on board the Alfa Romeo. He kind of looks into the outside of Canicles, but does not go for the move. Of course, he was not closing out there. As he goes through Ascari into the back straight. Do we see any other moves? Let's see, maybe we can go into the other Alfa Romeo of Hewlett into P6, who's quite close to the timing tank. Not close enough at all to go for a move, but he will certainly look to stay close to the Aston Martin driver up ahead. So no major issues in turn 1, I think. In this second lap of racing after the safety car. Yeah, we're all good. Good to see that. So yeah, we definitely want to see some more racing laps. So hopefully we do not have any safety car in the proximity or in the next laps. As we see the Ferrari of Shelly the Turtle kinda going for the move. They're side by side into Lesmo 1. Let's see who wins the drag race into Lesmo 2. They're still side by side. Look at that. Who's gonna win the drag race? Looks like the Ferrari has more speed there. They both are pounding the battery, but looks like the Ferrari is gonna come out on top as they go into Ascari. Yeah, so Shelly the Turtle completing the move there. Do we see any other interesting moves there? Looking at the gaps, I'm not entirely sure we do. We have a new fastest lap is GRS Edwin. So we see the Alpine from Pinola pitting there. Does he have some kind of front wing damage? I'm not entirely sure. I think he was serving a drive-through penalty, if I'm not mistaken. So he moves back down to P15. Going back to the lead of the race. Let's see, do we see any movement, any incidents into turn 1? We fortunately don't. That's good. So yeah, everyone's safe into turn 1. As we go back, so as we see the field splitting a little bit into two different packs. So we have the, well, GSR Edwin is pulling away significantly from Hidden Peter in P2. He's enjoying a healthy lead of 4 seconds. Then we have a little train of from P2 to P5, and from P5 to P6 we have 3 seconds of a gap, and the rest of the grid after Sharia calls for there. But yeah, so let's see if the bottom group is able to catch up to the top 4 or 5 drivers there. But so far we do not see, if I'm not mistaken, any sort of move or fight there. We do see some movement there, so the Alpine of Rupenola moves ahead of Chief Race as he unfortunately spins at the exit of Ascari. Ascari is very difficult because you're almost finishing up the lap. You want to get out of there as quickly as you possibly can, and sometimes you can over push the car. As the drivers continue to go through turn 1, Shelly the Turtle trying to move ahead, but of course he was in the grass, and that compromised his traction quite a bit. No movements into turn 1. Let's see if into the La Roggia we see any movements. I don't think so. Everyone following through there. So let's take a look at up the order into Guitarman Can, who's being chased by Hewlett in the Alfa Romeo. This top group of cars that will be fighting for P2, but let's see what happens. And the rest of the grid going into Scari as well. Let's see, we see as we onboard Chili the Turtle, the former the previous race winner, looking to get an equally good result hopefully for him, or as close as he possibly can from that. As the drivers, most of the drivers, the top 9 drivers have 13 lap old intermediates, and as we say that, some drivers decide to pit. So we have GSR Edwin, the former race leader, Guitarman Can, Green Reaper, the Gary's back. We have 4 peers so far. I think no one else decides to pit. Do we see any incidents into turn 1 as we start lap 14? A little bit of, I'm not sure if there was a contact there, but Canicle's right at the gearbox of Rumpinola there. And as we say that, GSR Edwin, as he goes out of the pit lane, he manages to move ahead the Aston Martin driver. So that's going to be a good move for the Mercedes driver there. As we move ahead up the order, Subtle is going to be looking to chase Hidden Peter for the race lead, the momentary race lead, as they definitely have all their intermediate tires, so they will be looking to pit within a few laps. So let's see how that second wave of pit stops affect the grid order, right? As we're on board JST in the Red Bull, who's very little threat behind. We have a little incident, if I'm not mistaken, there at Ascari, but I think everyone's safe, as we see a little bit of a fight there between the Gary's back and Green Reaper in the Alpine, but no major issues there. And we do have the second wave of Peters. We have Subtle, Hidden Peter, Hewlett, and Sharia Coleslaw going for a fresh set of tires. But we still have 4 or 5 drivers that have not pitted. We have Rumpinola with 14 lap old intermediates, and JST with 14 lap old intermediates as well. Then we have Pork Chops in P3 with 6 lap old intermediates. So Pork Chops deciding to pit somewhat differently than the rest of the drivers. I think it was in one of the safety cars before. So he should be pitting in around maybe 10 laps, a little less. Shelly the Turtle gives a little wave there to the wall. I think he has some damage. Yeah, he has no front wing at all, so it's gonna be a difficult return to the pit lane as the safety car is called right now. So yeah, another safety car. This is the third safety car of the session. But of course, the drivers will take advantage of the safety car to regroup and redefine their strategies. This is going to be awesome for the drivers that pitted before. Or no, well, in hindsight, it's going to be good for the drivers that did not pit under the safety car. Or before the safety car, rather. And of course, it's going to be good for them to pit under the safety car. They will be losing not that much of time, but they will lose quite a bit of grid places, hopefully, potentially, because they will have a train of, let's see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars behind, so they will lose at least 5 or 6 positions, the pitters right now. So yeah, let's see who comes out of the pit lane first. Looks like it's going to be Pork Chops in the Alfa Romeo. Yes, he's going to be losing 3 places from the last from before the pit stop, so not that bad for him. I'm sure he's gonna be happy. And if we take a look at the overall position progression, GSR Edwin sitting up in P1 as he catches the safety car. He's right where he started, as well as Kid and Peter in P2. But we have Determined Can in P3, who has progressed overall 1 position. He started P4, now he's P3. Subtle has progressed 4 positions, so I'm sure he's also excited about that. He started in P8. Now Hewlett has progressed a couple of places. Pork Chops, he's progressed 11 places, and now he has fresh intermediates. So he's going nowhere there. He's staying there at P6 for the remainder of this safety car, and of course he'll be looking to progress further after the green lights are out. Behind him we have JST, which has had the greatest progression of all drivers. He has managed to move up 13 places, so quite a lot of progression there for him. I'm sure he's gonna be happy, and he does have fresh intermediates as well. Everyone has fresh intermediates now, so no one staying out, everyone pitting places. And here we have the I'm missing the word. I'm not sure why, but the opposite word of progression. I don't know why I'm having trouble with that, but this dissection in the Haas and Sharia Coleslaw in the Williams have moved down 4 places each in P9 and 10 respectively. The Gary's back in the Williams is going to be in P11. He's progressed overall 1 place. Rumpinola in the Alpine, as he started, as we remember, in P3. He moved down from P3 all the way to P12, unfortunately for him. Shelly the Turtle is right where he started at P13. Canicles progressed 1 place into P14. He started P15. And Chief Rates started P14, and now he's down to P15. But we will have a fully formed safety car queue in a few seconds, that as we see Chief Rates catching up to the queue as he reaches De La Roggia there, the De La Roggia chicane in Monza here. So let's go back to our race leaders. As we see GSR Edwin leaving quite a gap from him to the safety car, so very interesting there. So the safety car is going to be in this lap as we receive that confirmation, so the drivers will be racing starting lap 18. So yeah, the Mercedes driver slowing down a bit there to give place to the safety car. We see someone in the grass there, Hewlett. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be losing quite a bit of grip, but I think he should be good for the race start. As we see the full 19 drivers in one take, that's interesting to see. That's not common to see, but we do see the 15 drivers, sorry, in a one shot there. As we have something there. That's an overtake under safety car technically, but I think the game is going to allow it. Looks like. Let me see. Guitar Mechanic looks like he picked up a 5-second penalty there, so I'm not entirely sure whether that's because he overtook or there was some kind of contact or something. But as we go through the racers, the drivers, going through turn 1 and turn 2, a little bit of a spin for there for Chief Race, but he will be fine. As P1 will go into De La Roggia, and as well as the rest of the drivers. Let's have the closest look that we possibly can there. We have a side-by-side battle here between Rompenola in the Alpine, Shelly the Turtle, a little bit of contact there, a little bit of a spin for the Alpine driver. He manages to remain in control of his car, but he lost the place to Shelly the Turtle. A little bit of contact with the wall there from Chief Race. This has not been his race, unfortunately for him, as the drivers go through Ascari. Then such a difficult chicane to nail in the dry, and even more in the wet. Of course, a little bit of spin from Shelly the Turtle. Rompenola is going to take advantage of that, of course, and move up to P12. Good for him. As the drivers go through Parabolica, of course, we will see another purple lap from GR Edwin, 1:31.28, and the rain, as we anticipated, is not stopping. We're in lap, let's see, lap 19, starting lap 19, and the race has no indication to stop, or it's like no. I see no indication that the rain will stop anytime soon. But yeah, as drivers, we have a couple of Peters there. We have Rompenola and Shelly the Turtle. As the drivers go through Ascari there, do we see any type of incident? I'm not sure. I don't think we do. No. Let's go back to up in the order. As GSR Edwin is enjoying a 3.5 second gap from P2 or to P2 in Guitar Mechanic. It's been an outstanding race for the Mercedes driver. He's been dominating this race from beginning to end, so I'm sure he will be thrilled with that. Very good performance and consistency from the Mercedes driver there. As the drivers go through Ascari into the back straight, and here's where I say that the Ers management is critical. So this is where most drivers will use the ERS, the battery, to overtake or to do their moves. We have an issue there with Canicles. He's not out, but he will definitely lose quite a lot of time there. Chief Race takes advantage and gains up a place as drivers go into turn 1. Do we see some kind of movement? We don't. CJC in the Red Bull. As we see, let's have a look at the rest of the drivers there. Into Curva Grande. Let's see if we see any kind of movements or incidents there. Let's ride aboard the Alpine of the Aston Martin, sorry, of Guitar Mechanic. As the drivers go through Lesma 2 into the second DRS zone of the circuit. Of course, no DRS, we're completely wet, so the stewards will definitely not allow DRS to be enabled. As we see a little bit of a fight between Green Reaper and Dissection there into Ascari, but of course Green Reaper had the position advantage and he managed to maintain P8, but the Haas driver is not satisfied with that. Let's take a look at some other fights that we're seeing. Looks like Hewlett in the Alpha Tauri is closing into the. I'm sorry, Hewlett in the Alpine. I'm not. This is not my day for for race teams. In the Alfa Romeo, going quite close to the AlphaTauri now of Kevin Peter. Do we see any movements there? We see a little bit of a side-by-side there between Cherry Coleslaw and De Geyrusbach. De Geyrusbach managed to concrete the move there into turn 1. Let's take a look at JC being closing into Pork Chops in P6, and Subtle there a little bit more far ahead in P5 there as they go through Lesmo 1 into Lesmo 2. Look at how cautious you need to be when racing on a wet surface in comparison to when dry. You need to be so more smooth with your steering angle, so much smooth with your throttle input, and so much earlier on the braking area. So we have the fight that we were looking at before. So dissection is going side by side, the Alpine driver. Let's take a look at that fight into Parabolica. They're side by side again, a little bit of a... They were very close to each other, but it looks like the Haas driver will be able to come out on top there in that fight. But I'm sure the Alpine driver is not going to be happy. Let's see, he tries again. So quite an intense fight here. Into turn 1. The Alpine looks like he's going to get ahead. Good defense there into turn 2, and the Alpine will have the straight. So let's take a look at some other races or battles there. Let's take a look at Pork Chops there, who's being chased by JC in the Red Bull, and he's chasing at the same time Subtle in the Haas. Do we see any other fights? We see dissection in the Haas, in the other Haas. Somewhat close to Green Reaper there, but not close enough. We see Pork Chops getting quite close to Subtle Butthole, but I sometimes forget not to say that full name, but that's okay. So we have dissection going for the move into Green River. These guys have been fighting for the last couple of laps very intensely. Somehow they do have battery remaining, but if they continue fighting, they will only lose time. So here's where you think, do we fight? Do we work together to catch ahead? We have 5 laps, well, 4 and a fraction laps remaining, so they're deciding to fight it. But yeah, those are the start process. You need to go through a little bit of spin from both Subtle and Pork Chops. JC right at the gearbox of the Alfa Romeo, but Pork Chops manages to put down the traction and get ahead. As we are into lap 23. We have a yellow flag right at the exit of turn 1. Looks like it's mechanicals. This is certainly not been his day. That's unfortunate for him. The Ferrari also follows him through the grass. A little bit of a follow phenomena there. but yeah, they will be able to continue the race. Do we see any other fights? We kinda do, but they're not close enough to go for the move. The Geyrusbach is close enough to Green Reaper, somewhat close enough. So if he manages to get a decent exit, he's pounding the battery. He's got 4% left. As soon as he immediately has a top speed decrease if he's not in the toe of Green Reaper. So he definitely needs to manage his battery throughout the final laps. And Cherry Coleslaw having the battery advantage being behind the Gary's back. Let's see if he takes advantage of that. The fight between these three guys have been completely incredible. Well, it's not really been a fight. They have been following each other quite closely. I think this is technically what I mean when I say work together. Like, do not go for the move at every turn. This is a 27 lap race. So when you go for the move, you need to make sure it's going to stick. And this is something that JC is going to try right this second. He gets his nose a little bit on the outside, and he manages to get ahead somewhat. But in the end, Porkchops manages to get the chicane and the subsequent straight. As now immediately as JC went for the move and couldn't make it count, immediately the House of Dissection attacking him. Let's see. I think Dissection has. No. I thought he had a puncture, but no, that made no sense at all. It was just the effect of the tire. But as they will be fighting quite close to each other, let's see a little bit of the nose right at the inside of the Rebel Driver. A little bit of a lockup there, as they still go side by side into turn 3 Curva Grande. But let's see what happens. Looks like the Red Bull will have the track position as Hewlett closes into Kid and Peter into lap 25. Let's take a look at the grid order so far. So GSR Edwin enjoying a healthy 6.5 seconds lead from P2. Outstanding performance for him so far, dominating the race from beginning to end. So I'm sure he'll be very concentrated right now, looking to finish up these couple of laps remaining. Guitarman Can also is kind of alone into turn into P2, as we see a little bit of a fight there between Hewlett and Kid and Peter. Hewlett trying to go for the move, but not managing to do it. So Kid and Peter P3 and Hewlett P4, Subtle in P5, Porkchops P6, JC, who was very close to Porkchops, but attempting to go for failed the move, had to drop back a little. So I'm sure he'll be looking to catch up as soon as he possibly can. Dissection being right behind JC. Behind them we have the Garrius back in P9 in the Williams. And then the Alpine of Green Reaper in P10 and Cheria Coleslaw in P11. Behind him we have very, very far behind, we have Rompenola in the Alpine in P12. Chief Rates P13. Shelly the Turtle, the previous race winner, in P14, and Canicles P15, being lapped. Unfortunately, this certainly has not been the race for him. I'm sure I've seen him race the last race I streamed and a few races before that, and I'm sure he has the pace. So he just needs to pick himself up and look into the future for the next race, as we see Shelly the Turtle DNFing. So unfortunately for him, that's going to be the race, as of course he see more blue flags as he lets Porkchops go through. As the Mercedes driver completes laps 26, we will have the final lap, fellas. So this is it. This is the final lap. Let's take a look at the close fights we have so far. We have, look at that, Cheria Coleslaw is very close to Green Reaper there in P11 and 10 respectively. Looks like the Williams gets the better exit. Who's got more battery? Looks like the Williams has the battery advantage. The Alpine will completely drain the battery defending. So let's see how the next turns develop there. Dissection tries to get as close to JC as he possibly can. He does not manage to pull off the move. Hewlett getting close to Kid and Peter, not close enough for the move. P1 and P2 completely comfortable where they are. They will probably finish the race in that position unless something extraordinary happens, of course, but so far so good for them. Sharia Coleslaw is being right behind Green Reaper for the fight for the points. So Sharia Coleslaw definitely wants that point for being in P10 that I'm sure Green Reaper will defend with everything he's got to maintain that points finish. What else we got? I don't see much movement, so we see the Mercedes crossing the line. That's gonna be an extraordinary win for Edwin. Guitarman can finishing up in P2 as he redeems himself from last race. Very fortunately for him, Kid and Peter finishing up the podium. So that those will be our top three drivers. Hewlett is gonna finish up in P4. Porkchop P5, Shuttle P6, JST P7, Dissection P8, the Gary is back in P9, Grim Reaper is going to be P10. Looks like that was a close finish with Sharia Coleslaw there in P11. Now Rompenola in P12 as he goes through the line. Chief Braids as he's going through Parabolica, and Canacles that finishes up the race in P14. That's going to be the race, fellas. Very, very interesting race. Difficult race. Plenty of safety cars. Plenty of DNFs. I think it's natural, of course, being Monza so difficult in the wet, of course. We're most used to Suzuka in the dry, so when it shows up in the wet like it did today, it definitely takes everybody by surprise as we see the Mercedes driver of Edwin winning the race. Outstanding performance for him. Kudos to him, and hopefully we will talking to him very, very soon in an interview. But I want to take P3 first. Kid and Peter, let's see if I can pull him for a quick interview. Let me see just a second if I can add him to the voice chat. Let me talk to him real quick. Very interesting race here at Monza. Plenty of safety cars, but plenty of good moves there as well, as the Mercedes driver also gets the fastest lap, so complete and total domination from his side. Let me take the Aston Martin as well of Guitarman Can. Let's see who's. I will hopefully be able to interview both of them, but let me just give me a second to. I'm a little confused. I think this is through the through the lobby chat, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? Awesome. So yeah, I think Guitarman can P2 for you after a redeeming result after Suzuka. What are your thoughts of today's race? Right. And it's always about the next race, right? For even like if you have a bad result in one race, you just shove it off and think about the next race immediately, and that's how you win races and championships even, right? That's definitely he's been able to show that for sure. But yeah, congrats on your P2. Thank you very much, Guitarman Ken, for taking the interview, and wishing you the best for the next round as well. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you very much for that. And Baku, yeah, let's see what happens. Excited to see that. Thank you very much, Guitarman Ken. Have a great one. As I think I have online Keaton Peter. I'm not entirely sure if he's through the game chat or the party chat I started. Um, let's give it a second to Etarman Can to join. I'm sorry, to Keaton Peter to join. Keaton Peter, P3 for you. What are your thoughts? Congratulations.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to thank my personal sponsor, Busch Light. But overall, I'm happy to finish a race after crashing from the lead week one and then crashing from P2 last week. That was a tough one. I After that second safety car came in, I went for a little little leapfrog over the curbs at whatever the second chicane is. I always forget its name, but yeah, I wound up driving with pretty severe underbody damage the rest of the way, which completely compromised my race. Very unpredictable in terms of downforce. I was kind of surprised that I was able to hold off Hewlett there for P3. He gave me a run for my money. But yeah, with that damage, I had really no chance to keep up with even Khan, but especially Edwin. He really blitzed the field this afternoon, so hats off to him.
Right, right. Quite a nice race either way, and even more considering that, as you tell us that you had that underbody damage. But yeah, congratulations on your P3. Baku next week. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, probably a lot of safety cars, if I had to guess. So strategy is probably going to be out the window. Um, Overall, yeah, I think last year I crashed from the lead there as well. So hopefully I learned my lesson from that. But yeah, I mean, Baku's usually one of my better tracks. If I can keep it between the walls, I think that's the main thing around there.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, hopefully we can see you succeeding as well as you did today next week. And yeah, congratulations on your podium, and all the best for next session.
Well, cheers! I shall try. Thanks for the commentary.
For sure, for sure. Have a good one. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Those are our P2 or P2 and P3 respectively. Let me see if I can find our race winner. Of course, how are we not going to interview um let's see. Let me see if I can catch him real quick. Um, there we go. Let me put him a message real quick. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm just putting a chat to GSR Edwin after his race win today. I'm curious to see how he tackled this challenge of Monza in the wet. Of course, such an unusual combination, and how he managed to dominate this race from beginning to end. Quite a quite a an exciting race for him, um, and yeah, everything went to plan. I'm sure for him, and um, he'll be happy about that. Let's give him a few more minutes, a few moments here for him to to let me know that he's available or not for an interview. Let's just give it a second. And yeah, Baku's next season or next week. Baku, of course, being such a challenging track because of course a 10-meter variation on your brake point, and it could mean putting the front wing into the wall, right? So the drivers will need to be especially on their toes next next round as we wait for GSR Edwin to join the voice chat. Quite a bit of an incident there at the beginning of the race as well. I think I managed to cut some of it. I'm sure, well, of course, the local footage is going to be needed for the stewards to to do their job, but yeah, I think the broadcast were able to catch up a little bit of a um, of a of position, you know. So I think GSR Edwins should be joining any minute now. GSR Edwin, thank you for joining. A dominating race from beginning to end. Quite a comfortable gap right from the get-go, and a little bit of a grid change at when you um, stopped for new tires, but after that, just got back the lead and never looked back. What are your thoughts for today's victory? Mm. Right, right. Yeah, that was especially noticeable for me that, of course, we all expect to see Monza in the dry. Monza is the temple of speed, as it's popularly known. We don't usually see it in the wet. Did that surprise you? Did that change your mindset throughout or your approach to the race? Right, right. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Dominated the session all throughout. And I'm sure that's going to give you a confident boost for next sessions, and especially next session, which is Baku. What do you think about that? Awesome, awesome. We will hopefully be interviewing you as well next session, uh, after Baku. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, Edwin, and congratulations on your win. All right, have a good one. Thank you very much. Bye. That's the interview. That's the top three, fellas. Very, very interesting wet race here at Monza. And I think that's going to be it. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This has been Elbows Out Racing, bringing out to you the action of Division 3 of Midwest F1 League. Just before I go, quick shout out as well to our or the sponsor of the league, Rimp Race Energy. Thank you very much for that sponsorship. That I'm sure the league very kindly appreciates. Please remember to visit and subscribe YouTube's channel of Midwest F1 League, and join the website as well, midwestf1.com. Um, And yeah, thank you very much all for joining, and we will see each other next week at Baku. Have a great one.